recently, pretty recently, I put out a video called Building with Octagons. I essentially went through the progress and process of making this butte here, a build I'm really quite proud of. And in this build is actually this feature right here, a custom forge I put together, which I'm really happy with, and I'm really glad to hear and have seen that a lot of people seem to really like it. So today, I thought it'd be cool to actually go over my process of how I put this together and lend you guys some hopefully useful tips and tricks and stuff that you can apply to your own builds to make some similar creations. And to start with this tutorial, I thought it would be cool to essentially pull the curtains back. Literally. So what I mean by this is it'd be a lot easier to explain how I put this together if I actually remove the paint and everything from this build, because paint is a big part of creating an illusion of depth. But it's still going to look quite confusing, I'm sure. So after I'm done kind of showing you guys this, I'm planning to go through the process of actually building it from step 1 to step however many go into this. So let me start with actually removing the paint from this. Okay, so I'm sure that you can see now with all the paint gone, it's very flat. Not entirely flat, because we still have some depth with just some naturally darker walls and whatnot. But this whole forge, this particularly, I think stands out the most, is pretty flat. But then this feature right here hasn't changed all that much, because it's mostly utilizing these actuated blocks right here. See? Haha. This was actually something that took a bit of experimentation to figure out how to do, because I really wanted this forge right here to look like it was pouring lava into this forge, because I saw that and I'm like, oh, that's like a perfect opportunity to mess with that. But the problem was, this is obviously too big, and let me get some lava real quick. This here, when you had the lava fall, it looks good, but then it just trails on and there's nothing you could really do about it. Quick tip, if you don't know this already, if you go into interface and then tile grid and turn that on, you actually get this little grid around your cursor, which can be super helpful for building. So you can see right here in this line of blocks, there isn't any wall, and it's a lot more clear if you have wall on each side, because you see that line right there, and then you can fill it up with wall and whatnot, and it's no problem. So that's where I was utilizing that with this, because since there isn't any wall there, this wall actually sticks out half a block into the space to the right. And that's how I was able to put that behind these actuated blocks here. So I'm assuming this has been more than enough of an explanation for a lot of people, hopefully, and hopefully this helped. But I do want to go from start to finish, just so I can really show you guys what I did with the forge here, or the fireplace, and maybe explain things better for anyone who hasn't quite understood yet. So let me quickly get set up for that, and then I'll try and get through that pretty quickly. Okay, so right now it would be this forge right here, the Hell Forge, because that's going to be a key component. I'm going to use brass shelf because it's not very noticeable, and put a campfire on top of that, and then the actual bin here we want the lava to be pouring out of. Something like that, it's pretty small. And then right here, I actually, to make this work the way I wanted it, this is a little bit finicky here, where you need to have these 2 blocks of lava and fill those in, and then take out that half part that leaves it halfway. You can't just do 1 block to get this effect. And I liked how that looked, because then it was this level of lava matched the thickness or the width of the lava fall. But again, this isn't exactly what I want this to look like. To make this work, I actually want to grab some grates, because a neat thing with the grate, so I can't place this in quite yet, but if you take the grate and you hammer it, this is the block in Terraria that can actually go through. But the problem is here, if I remove this block right here, see how there's lava? This will just flow out, which I'm not sure if I want to demonstrate. So what I'm going to do is actually grab some wiring, and I'm going to get a switch as well. And when we hit that, that'll actually tick on the grate. So when we remove that, nothing will come out of it. Because if I didn't do that, then this lava would just flow right out. So that's a neat way to get it to that level and also make it look a little bit more like the lava's actually getting to this edge here. And now is for the neat part, which I think everyone was most impressed by, and that is just the lava fall portion. So to do this is really simple, like I illustrated earlier. All you need to do is knock out this 2x3 space of wall, and actually took out too much. Take your lava fall wall and fill in this 1x3 portion right here. It goes down to here. I think you actually are going to want to remove that wall right here. And then right here, you just put like anything in front of it, really. You can use these wooden beams, actually works really nice in this situation. You can just take like wood and actuate that, or if you wanted to take palm wood and actuate that. Those are both things that tend to work pretty nicely for something like this, because when those are actuated, it blends in with the wall pretty nicely. But for now, I'm just going to use beam because that works pretty well. And that's that. That's like the basic concept of this, and then you just want to paint that. But another thing I did in the build was actually have a chain here to make it look like there's a chain supporting the cauldron. Now what I did to do this was actually really quite simple, and it just involved an iron fence right there, a wrought iron fence in this scenario, and then a chain right above it, and it looks like the chain is connecting to the wrought iron fence there. And I'm realizing this looks really jank. Like, this is a really wonky cauldron here, but that's fine. Now I'm getting picky of it. I need to stop. Now it's actually for the fireplace here, which I was quite happy with, and I feel like it's one of those things that really tied the build together. Like, this is a cool concept, but it just pops so much more when you have this big, like, it's almost like a big pizza oven. Since we have this empty space here, whatever you put here is going to fill in a lot more, so that is something to keep in mind. But what I want to do here is getting kind of like stone textures, metal textures, iron brick wall, because I feel like that's a really good metal texture, and I just want to make like an outline of like this big oven. The color and stuff doesn't matter a whole lot because it's going to be changed. And then anything that you want to look like is closer to the player, I'm going to paint white with white paint, so it looks like it's really like right there in your face, so to speak. And then anything that I want to look like is kind of the framework, or maybe a little bit behind the player, or like a little bit further back, I'm just going to do with gray paint. And then right where this is, which I feel like this part is probably a bit more self-explanatory, and I'm sure doesn't need much of a tutorial, but you just paint this black here, and also going to paint the campfire itself black. And hold on, just want to knock out those walls right there so that it looks a little bit more curved here. So then it's just something like that. And one final detail I did, platforms like right here, and made it into a stair, and then painted that like gray or white or whatever, just so it looked like there's a bit more of that edge in this little facade here, because you can't do too much with the walls since it's a combined trick with the walls and the lava fall to make that effect. And I get, usually if you're going to use white paint on something, you want to use a wall that's a bit darker in nature so that it doesn't pop too much like this does here. So something like this, for example, is a lot more toned down. Not the block I would use, but it's most convenient at the moment. But that's essentially how you'd want to throw this together. And that's also all that I have left for this video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I don't do videos like this often, so if you'd like to let me know if you want to see more videos like this, what you thought of this, if it was interesting, and if you'd want to see more, please do. I would love to hear that feedback from you guys, because I would totally love to do more like this if I get like ideas for them or things that I'd want to show off. But ultimately, that's just about it and wraps this up. So I hope you guys have an awesome day and a fantastic week, and I hope to see you soon. Talk to you all later. Bye.